Hey everybody, welcome to your unpaid therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of your unpaid therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
That's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know. I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Brad Ford.
This is your unpaid therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha. Hey everybody, welcome to your unpaid therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of your unpaid therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
That's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know. I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Brad Ford.
This is your unpaid therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha. Hello, hi everybody. We have a super special episode and I am so excited because for the first time ever in your unpaid therapist history, we have a Patreon member. Hey!
I'm Valerie, everybody.
Oh yeah, that's helpful. I'm Ali Kona, and then today we have my very lovely friend who I've known since the early 1800s. I was gonna call you Valerie.
Brandie, so much for joining us. This is so exciting because as I'm sure she's told you, like the whole reason we started this podcast is to have these girl talks and to have the support and to have this group of women just talking about the things that we experience in life and that we can relate to and motivate each other. So to have you, one, support us, and two, amuse us by being on this on the episode is really, really sweet and exciting. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, today we decided to talk about moving for your partner. Like we've talked about, like Brandie had made a move for her family and her husband and his job. Valerie had made a move to be closer with her boyfriend, and I chose not to do the move when given, a boyfriend that had to move somewhere. So very interesting perspectives, but we always got to start the show with a little don't hit the mic. Never have I ever. So Brandie, since you are our guest of honor, I'm just going to shuffle and you tell me when to stop. Oops.
She has the cards in her hands for everybody who is not watching.
I'm like,
follow.
Okay. I would not make it as a poker dealer, clearly. Okay, now that I've shuffled, do you want blue, pink, or yellow? Pink.
You gotta go with pink.
So the first pink card. All right, so it is. Never have I ever been serenaded by a boy or a girl.
Ooh.
Oh.
Do you want to?
I haven't. I serenade my husband all the time, but I've never been
Wait, hold on.
myself.
And Brandie's a singer, you guys. I might put you on the spot. You start warming up your vocal cords, girl. And
Have you?
Oh, man.
I've had an almost.
What does that mean?
Okay, so one time, Brandie, I don't think you knew this either. It was my senior year, and I was in a play. I was in a one act, and there was this boy who I guess had a crush on me, and not my type. And he apparently was going to sing like Phantom of the Opera at the end of the one act, like after we finished, and he was going to like come out on stage in front of everybody in high school and have like the Phantom of the Opera mask and everything. And apparently he'd been training for a whole month with a vocal teacher. And I was like, no, don't do that.
You mean like he wanted to surprise you with this? How did you find?
Somebody told me because he was in the play with me, and he's like, just so you know, so-and-so has this big plan. And I was like, oh, no, because then I would feel just so awful because he wasn't my type, and I didn't want to turn him down like on stage because he was going to act me out.
Oh, yeah.
So
I was really bold.
Yeah.
So whoever you are out there, good for you for creativity and for boldness, because we, I feel like a lot of women, we want that from men, right? Or women or from your partner, you want these bold actions. So I want to applaud that. I am sorry that it didn't work out for you, but that's very brave. I love that.
That's cool.
Well, I was an asshole and I intercepted. I didn't know how to say, don't do that. So instead, like I purposely had Brandie had Eric Epling come to school. He already graduated, but I had him like come walk around in the parking lot with me and hold my hand so it looked like I had a boyfriend. And The guy
No,
never
he
did.
didn't.
Yeah.
That was kind of nice. I think that was it. I don't feel like you were an asshole for that. I think you were protecting him. Like, I don't feel like it was you being actually mean. I was scared that you actually did something very mean. No, I think that was like, yikes, let me protect this guy from embarrassment myself. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I agree with
for
that.
me,
Yeah.
my ex-husband used to sing. So, and he like wrote songs for me and stuff. So yeah, I have a lot and he was an amazing singer. So, yeah, no, nothing super exciting, but okay, let's move on. Never have I ever. I'm shuffling the cards. I'm going to choose blue. Never have I ever met my hero. Yes, I have. If you are new to me, where have you been? But welcome to the podcast. But I am a huge JLo fan, and I got to meet JLo. Not only did I meet her, before I met her, I got to play her in a movie.
That's right.
I played her. Yeah, it was so fun, and it was like a dream come true. I had just moved to LA. It was my first big film. That was going to be in the theaters, and I was playing Jennifer Lopez, spoofing her really, but no, that's nor here nor there. Because I was just like, I'm playing JLo, and everybody who knew me were like, seriously, like, of course you are. Then I got to spoof her again in an Affion Crockett, like, I don't even know what it was really, but it was a bunch of like little vignettes and funny stand-up things. I got to spoof her and Kim Kardashian. Really, they put a fake booty on me, a prosthetic, and they were like, who else could we do? But then I got to meet her during her American Idol days. A friend of mine knew Casper, and that's when she was dating him.
Casper.
And so I got to meet her, and she was lovely. And then that friend had a birthday dinner that JLo went to, and she was like literally sitting across from me. And she was just so cool and so chill. And yeah, it was awesome.
Nice.
I would love that. That'd be so cool
she
to
was
meet
great.
her.
And there's so many rumors about her being this or that, and she absolutely wasn't. So there you go.
I've never met my hero.
Cool.
Okay, who is your hero?
I guess that's like one of those I don't know, so that's why I've never met. I could tell you who I had a crush on when I was younger, but
that's not a hero. Okay, a crush.
Okay, so then my shiro would be Jennifer Aniston or Reese Witherspoon, and I have not met them. So,
but you were close.
I was close.
Yeah, you got close to Reese. Yes.
Okay, so what about you, Brandie?
I don't really have a hero either, but being into music as much as I am to music, I love Kelly Clarkson, love her voice. And I actually won backstage tickets to one of her concerts. So I got to meet her, do like a meet and greet. And y'all, she is so fun in person as she is like on TV.
Imagine. I love that. I came out to LA when the, was that Kelly? Wasn't it Kelly? Window. No, was that her? Did I just mess up?
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about.
And that song was super popular, and I just would like drive through LA and look out the window and be like, "Here I go." All right, shuffle the cards. Let's through this. Stay on time.
Never have I ever manifested something super cool from my vision board. I have, actually. Okay, so this one time at band camp with our former guest, Paul Benedict, who I call Paul Chichi, he and I had planned to go to Spain, and there was a huge volcano eruption in Iceland. There was ash everywhere. The airports shut down. We couldn't get to Spain. And so that night, my mom was like, you need to pick somewhere else to go. And so randomly, our finger landed on Switzerland, and we were like, we're going to Switzerland tomorrow. And so we went, and basically the whole trip was we were on a train, and we would pass back and forth like our little like Frommer's book that he got from the library and just randomly pick a city. And so I was like, oh, wait, the Matterhorn. I thought that was just a ride in Disneyland. Like, I didn't know that was a real mountain. So I told Paul, like, we have to go. And we show up, and as I'm walking down these cobblestone streets in this like North Pole looking town, I was like, this place looks familiar, but I've never been to Switzerland before. And then I got home and looked at my vision board and was like, oh shit, there was a photo of the street that I was walking down.
That's
That's
so cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever, Brandie? Have you ever lived or experienced something that you had manifested or had put on a vision board? Or
I don't know if this really counts as that. But ever since we've been in Colorado, things have been really different, really tight. It's way more expensive than Las Vegas. And we've been really trying to get into a house, like visioning a house. And we just put applications in for 1-2 days ago. So we're like super excited.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Colorado. I hear it's so beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's cold, but it's beautiful.
True. Let's see, for me, yes, I wasn't necessarily a vision board. I used to just write things down and then put them in a box, and I still have this box. It was the year that I got that JLo movie, and I had written a bunch of things down on a list of like, this year I'm going to book a movie, be on a TV show, a bunch of different things. And I had forgotten about it, and I put it in this box. And then later, I want to say it was like 2 years later, I like, oh, my box. And I looked at, and I still actually have the little paper. And I read it, and I was like, oh my God, I did all of that. Like, I was in a feature film. I got a TV show this year. I did this. And it was like, almost like, I want to say like 5 out of 7 things I had written down had come true. Me.
I love
Where
that.
did you buy this box and where can I get one?
So, give it to me. I have to show it to you.
Right?
I think it's in my cabinet right there. A friend gave it to me, and it had, I don't even remember what she wrote on top, but it always became like my little like, I'm going to write things down and just tuck them in there box.
Okay, well, note to self, buy a box.
All right, let's get it going. So we have Brandie in the show, you guys. If you're just listening, if you fast forwarded, I don't know if you forgot, she is a Patreon member and super friend of Valley Kona for such a long time.
Yes.
And lately, really what we wanted to talk about is moving and changing your life and uprooting for
Someone else.
yes and no. For yourself also, but seemingly maybe for somebody else. Would you do it? Have you done it? What are your thoughts?
Well, Brandie, I'll say you obviously did it, but like,
Yes.
what made you? I mean, you guys, you have a family, but that was so much sacrifice. Like, what were the conversations that were had between you and Louie, and ultimately made you be like, okay, I guess I'll do this.
Yeah. Truthfully, it happened during COVID, and he was furloughed from his job and just looking for something. And he happened to be online looking for stuff and putting stuff in, and he didn't realize he applied for a sign shop in Colorado. And he got the call, and he told me he got a call from a sign shop in Colorado, and he's like, but I told them no. And I was like, why would you tell them no? And I don't even know why I said that, but it just came out. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it's something what we need. And he was like, okay, I'm going to call them back. And he called them back, and he did a phone interview with them, and they loved him. And then they flew him out, and he came back home and talked to me about how beautiful Colorado was. And we had to talk to our middle son because he would be leaving his senior year. So that kind of, as parents, killed us. Yeah. So, because he would have to finish his senior year. And we did actually offer to let him hang back home because my entire family and my husband's entire family was home. So we offered him to stay home, but he decided to come with us, and we made the decision to pack up and move and make a change.
That's awesome. How did that conversation go with your son? Like, was he 100% all go, or was there any kind of hesitation? Or
he was definitely hesitant. I think he thought about staying behind, like, and living with my mom and dad, because my mom had definitely offered that. But at the same time, we had never been apart. So I think he was kind of iffy about that, even though he won't say that. So he did. He came out and he came with us, and he did good. You know, he made a couple of friends his senior year, but now that he's done and over with, he goes home to Vegas like once every other month.
Well, let's just talk about the fact that, okay, first of all, you've lived in Vegas your whole life. You and I think the rest of the world knows that it's hot as Hades out there. And then you went from Vegas to Colorado where it gets in the negative. So like, what kind of shock, and were you ever like, I just want to go home, I'm so homesick?
I feel that way every winter so far.
yeah.
No, but I don't. The first time it actually really snowed, you could tell that we weren't from there because all 5 of us were bundled up from head to toe, throwing snow, building snowmen, having snowball fights. Like, we had so much fun. We loved the snow. We really did. I actually still love it. I just don't like driving in it. That's my only thing.
Meanwhile, your neighbors are looking out the window like, they're totally not from
Not one person came outside to play in the snow. We were the only ones.
How long have you been there now in Colorado?
This is our third year.
Okay.
This is our third
So
winter.
is
So,
it?
yeah.
Does it feel like home yet, or not really?
It's starting to. It's really growing on us because back home in Las Vegas, sadly, there's nothing to do as a family.
Really?
Especially if I feel like there's not really, not unless you can go blow a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do
Here
now that you did?
we do everything. Like we live outdoors now and I love it. We go hiking, biking, we go up to Estes Park and there's a ton of elk and we walk around the park and like just sit and hang out and watch the elk. Like I love it. You can't do that back home.
I love that.
That's awesome. I feel like it sounds like the move was definitely a family move and didn't feel like I'm giving up my life for this other person. I'm giving up my dream for this other person. Like how long did it take you to transition into your own thing?
It took me 2 years. So I've been with my job for a year. So I just got a job about a year ago.
Oh,
That's
wow.
amazing.
Yeah. And for the first 2 years, I stayed home and kind of like got our life situated and together, got the boys, in school and figured out school and 'cause everything was new for my youngest too. So like figuring out the school system here and picking him up and making sure I was here for him because everything was new for him. So I did that for the first couple of years. He's 12 now. So he was 10. Yeah. When I moved here, he was 10.
He's just starting. So I love that. I think what's so beautiful about that is that, like you were saying, it was a choice for the family. But what I love is that you surprised yourself. Like you didn't think that's something you would have said. And out of nowhere, you're like, what? Why did you
I did. There's still times where I'm like, I can't believe like I said, yes, let's do it. But it was really good for my family. It really was. Like we were the only people we had out here. So it really brought us close together. Like my kids hung out with us a lot because they had no friends.
That's cute. You did things like that back. I was talking to Ali Crona that similarly, my dad did that for our family. And, born in Puerto Rico, both of them, their whole life was there. My dad was in the National Guard. So he kind of got to get out of the island and see other things. And then when they were planning a family, he told my mom, like, I want to move to the States. And I've had this conversation with my mom on how difficult that was for her because she really never left the island. You know what I mean? And like all the family was there and comfort and everything that she ever thought was going to happen with her life was in Puerto Rico. So it was really hard, but she trusted him. She put all her faith in him and they moved to Florida. And I was telling her my life, I can't even imagine what my life would be had we still been in Puerto Rico. And not to shit on Puerto Rico, but there's just so much more opportunity here in the States. And my brother and I, our careers have flourished, our dreams and everything that we thought could happen with our life has been magnified because of my dad's decision and my mom's bravery to follow him and do that.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do when there's no guarantee of anything, right? Like at least you guys had that guarantee of like, we're moving because of this great opportunity. My mom and my dad were kind of like, I think this is going to be better.
Right. Right.
So I'm so thankful for that.
See, and then on the opposite end of the spectrum, it was the reverse roles for my family. So my mom worked for American Airlines. We lived in LA and moved to North Carolina because of my mom's job. My dad had his own business. He had an aviation magazine. He had his own plane, but the magazine wasn't doing so well. And so when she got the opportunity to go to North Carolina, they were like, LA's not like the most awesomest place to raise a child. So let's go. And so he followed her. And I'm so grateful because I did have such a wholesome childhood of like, Girl Scouts and playing in the woods and like all the things you do that your kids are probably doing right now. And but it's such an enriching experience. And then again, we moved to Vegas because of my mom's job being in travel. And at the time, my dad wasn't really, he'd started businesses, whatever. They didn't kind of work out. And so we ended up in Vegas, which was also a blessing too, because I lived in North Carolina for so long that I was exposed to a certain type of people, which is nothing wrong with that. But I was multiracial, living in a non-multiracial city and trying really hard to just be white. Anything I could do to like erase the Asian out of me, I was trying. I was embarrassed to be Japanese. And then moving to Vegas, it's such a melting pot that I was like, oh, Like everywhere you look, there's like a Filipino person, and it just really opened up my eyes. And in dancing, like being able to be a part of Culture Shock, I was around. And look, I was a makeup artist for a lot of years. But the point is then I was introduced to LGBTQ community, and in dance and in makeup, it's a lot of gay men. So I have a lot of my gay best friends, but that's also how I became, quote unquote, a fag hag, if you will. Like I just had and that's no offense, by the way, that's what my gay male friends would call me. Attracted more the gay ones than the straight ones. Okay.
I was just curious, where were you before Vegas? Like, what's that background for you?
My husband and I are both born and raised in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this was, and even like born and raised, been together since 18 years old. I think we've left Las Vegas once on a trip to Ensenada, and like, that's it.
Oh my goodness. So that makes it even more like huge. Yeah. Huge. I'm so happy. Oh my God. Like, do you feel, and I don't know, like, obviously you've been there 3 years now, so you're settled, now you have your job. Do you feel like, I wish I would have done something like this sooner, or like the timing's been perfect?
I feel like the timing was perfect for sure. I 100% miss my family. Yeah. We're so close, like dinner every Sunday at someone's house. Like my whole life was like that. So I had a really hard time, being away from them. Mm-hmm. But for my little family, it was the perfect timing for it. And I have to put them first, obviously. So.
Hey, Brandie, really quick, I just caught something. Can you do us a quick favor? Can you twist your hair back a little bit? Because I think your hair is hitting the mic.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Got
it. That's so cool. I think, and that I would see would be hard because I'm super close to my family too. But also exciting because of these new traditions that you're doing with your kids, and or especially in the beginning, like because they didn't know anybody, forcing them to have these, conversations and experiences with mom and dad, and I know they'll look back later and be like, oh, I'm so glad we did that movie.
Yeah. But what about you?
I hope so.
They will.
Yeah, totally. Speaking from experience now. But you, Val, also moved for your guy, and you were living in the Valley. I mean, we talked about this in past episodes, but she was in the Valley for like 19 years. So to uproot, like, what made you decide ultimately? Because again, it's for you as a whole, as a unit, but you're the one that's pretty much making all the sacrifice.
Yeah, I think that, he definitely was making sacrifices, not location-wise, because the location was something he was used to. But, I think that moving in with your child, with a new person, is a big deal. And because I can't relate, I don't see it so much. It's not like whoa to me, but like when he talks about it and when I really think about it, I'm like, that's a big deal, like you were alone, like nobody was like looking at you parent or judging or whatever. Not that I do, but these are the things that he was afraid of, like, oh, somebody's gonna come in new that's like, is it gonna be okay? And you're exposing your baby to everything that's new, and like, not that he ever has the thought of like, what if it's not going to work out? That's like not even in his head, but I would.
I think about that all the time. But the way, like, I take this conversation left field, but it's like a pet peeve of mine when people are quick to introduce their children to the people they're dating, and they're constantly like rotating dudes or girls, and I'm like, that is so confusing for a kid.
And he doesn't around with that. So, but for me in the beginning was rough. I mean, the weather out here, it is, I don't know what it looks like in the Valley, but it's like gloomy and cold. My friends aren't like a 5-minute, meetup to go hiking. I went back to that side of town yesterday, and I was telling Alicona that it's like, this side of town is way nicer. It's beautiful, super family oriented. The beach is like, I can run there. It's like less than 2 miles away. I love it. It's perfect for, like I was asking you, Brandie, with like the timing. It's definitely perfect timing for me to do this now as well. But I went back and I was like, oh, I miss this little junk hole. There was some the homelessness. And I was like, oh, he's a little shitty, but but it's so cute. Yeah, it just made me happier. It truly did. But yeah, I think because this is a chapter in my life that I've always wanted, I don't feel like they're the good 100 million times percent, whatever that is, and not even English, outweighs the things that I feel like I left.
So you're not like the girl who gave up her dreams for a dude.
Oh, no. This is, I think, getting me to another dream, because
Yes.
family and like having my husband and having a kid and like having that soccer mom life, not like the typical soccer mom life, but my version of it has been a dream. So I feel like this is another step towards another dream that I don't often talk about, but like, and I've talked to David a lot about this. And I think that, because of being on TV and stuff, people glamorize this kind of life. And I'm like, but for me, like being able to have like my little family is just a big of like a dream, and it will feel like so fulfilling than going on stage and winning a People's Choice. It's just, they're so different, but I will feel so fulfilled in a different kind of way that this move was that also towards a different team.
And all that matters is that it's how you want it to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's the timing. It's my age. It's everything that all of stuff that got me to here. I made it worth it. And I know for you, Ali Corona, that you would. And okay, so we were talking about this yesterday, to be on the real route. And I was like, to be honest, I kind of feel like for the right guy, I think you would. And for the right situation, because she's like, nope, not me. I'm not going nowhere. No guy. And I'm like, I think you say that. But if he was like, girl, I'm going to take care of you. Go ahead, do your, produce your things. I will help finance them. I think you'd be like,
okay. I mean, if you want to make my show. No, I'm kidding. No, but I just feel like, but again, we're in different places in our life, but I'm like, give me a puppy and I'm happy. That's my family. I'm good, and my whole thing was, cause my boyfriend had gotten an opportunity in another city, and I was like, that's cool. There is nothing for me out there, and I will not be the one, whether it was him or Justin Timberlake or James Marsden, like, I will not be the one to give up my dream in my life on account of you and your dream. Like, go do your thing, boo. And if it's meant to be, it'll be. But right now, I feel like I have to be in this city. Like, I have to be in LA in order to be available for that audition. And I was telling Val, like, she has such a long resume that it might feel a little bit more comfortable for you to be able to take that step away. But because
I'm not away. I mean,
well, you're close. Yeah, you are close. But for me,
like an hour from where I was, and it's really still like LA.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. But for me, I'm like, I have to be here and I have to be available. And so that's part of it too. But all my life, I've always been like, no, not for a dude. And I don't know. It's just my mentality. But
I think that makes sense, because I don't feel like I did this for a dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think for you, Brandie, like you didn't do this just for your husband. Like, I mean, you were the one who encouraged your husband, call them back. It's for yourself, for your family. So it's not like you weren't thinking about it benefiting your life and your kids' life as well. So I think once, if and when that feels like that for you, and like we were talking about your mom, like that's so dope that your dad, your mom was the one who was like, hey, I'm gonna like do this for the family because of work, and that your dad was like, all right, cool, let's go. Like, how neat. I need to take a sip of water.
Go for it. Anyway, I don't know, but also too, like Brandie, your family has always been family oriented. Like you were saying, like you guys still went to dinner together, like every Sunday. Like that's just not my family, and you're very family oriented too. So I think I'm such an independent soul because that's just how I was brought up. That I'm just used to being alone. And not that that's a good nor bad thing. It's just what's comfortable to me, so I'm okay.
Right.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense, and I feel like because of where we are in life, and women really focusing on themselves or their careers, or a lot of women don't want children, and they're very vocal and aware of that. I think that's awesome. Like we were saying, that's what makes you. That's what makes everybody so different. It's just like, okay, for me, this is like the thing that I I've always wanted, and for you're like, no, thank you, give me a dog. abort. Okay, so I'm not messing up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But Brady, I also, because I see you on social media always posting about like just like loving mom life, and you totally embrace that. And is that something? Because I mean, that's not like we didn't talk about that in high school, but is that something that was always your dream, or like it happened, it wasn't quite expected, but once it did happen, I'm gonna lean into it.
Yeah, it just happened when I was like 20 years old.
Wow.
Surprise! But when it happened, it did. Like I just fell in love with this little baby as soon as they placed him in my arms, and from that on, I'd rip your head off if you tried to touch him. So, yeah.
Different version of you, like when becoming a mom, were you like, oh, I didn't know this person existed in me, or did you know like, now when I'm a mom, I'm going to be this type of mom?
I would say I definitely feel like I had to grow up overnight. Like, and then when I became a mom, and I don't know why, because I wish I would have never have done this, but when I became a mom, I felt like I had to take all my earrings out because I had like my ears pierced all over different kinds of ways, and I felt like I had to take my belly button ring out. And so like I did all that, which I wish I would have never have done that because I was still young, but I felt like I had to do that. And that's kind of like the stuff that I did.
Okay. How did you tell your parents? Were you and Louis married at the time?
No, we were dating for 2 years, but still, I told my mom over the phone.
Oh,
I was, and not that I was embarrassed about it. I was more afraid that I was disappointing my parents because we weren't married, because I was I was raised LDS, baptized LDS.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very big deal to call my family and tell my family that not only am I pregnant, but I'm pregnant by somebody who's not Mormon.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you still practice?
No, I don't. Some of my family do still, but I haven't practiced since, I don't know, my sophomore year of high school, maybe. Yeah.
So how was the reaction for your parents?
What was that?
How did your parents react when you told them?
At first they were just kind of like, how are you going to do this? But you know what? I think I was determined to show everybody that I was going to do this. And I think my husband felt the same way, because both families were like, you guys are so young. How are you going to do this? I just started my career in the dental field. So like he just started his career in the sign business. So they were just more worried about us making it. But because we were so young, I think we did it, and because we wanted to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah. And then your next son, didn't he come almost a year, like shortly after?
A year and 6 months later. Yep.
Okay. And was that unexpected also?
My first two were unexpected. My third one was the only one that was planned.
Got it. But I mean, when that second one came along, were you like, okay, we're pros, we got it? Or were you like, shit, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, I was like, okay, we got this. We can do this. And my mom, and then by then I told my mom and dad, and they're like, okay.
That's so cool.
That's good. I give you so much credit for that, and the fact that like you and Louis did it together, because when you are young, it's hard, it's scary. We have mutual friends that had kids right out of high school that unfortunately things didn't work out with them and their other,
Right.
and they had to approach single motherhood. And when you're young, did you ever feel like you sacrificed your youth though?
I do a little bit when I look back. Like I never had my partying club days, drinking days. Like I never had that. I think when I turned 30, there was a couple of times where I went out. I take that back. I had girl nights here and there, when the boys got older, but I never had those young wild days. And my husband never did either. So he might not say he feels like he missed out, but I know he does.
So then you think like once the last one leaves the nest, are you going to have like a good, like, I'm going to make up for old times?
No, I think we've done that throughout the years, between either he's had guy nights or hunting trips, or, I've had my girl trips or girls' night out. So we've had plenty of those nights where I've had to call him to come pick me up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. I told a good friend of mine, she had her son when she was young too. and he's 17 now. And I'm like, girl, by the time I have my first baby, you're going to be retired on an island, 20-something-year-old, sipping a cocktail, living your best life. I was like, so, it's like everything happens for a reason. I know she's like similar to you. Like I missed out on certain things and I was so young, and I was like, sure, that was yours to live. And then now, like in the back end, you're going to have an amazing life and be able to travel and this and that. And I will be changing some little things diaper. Hopefully.
It's really funny you say that, because that was one of the things I actually said to my husband not too long ago. I was like, you know what? By the time our kids are growing, gone in college, away, like we're still going to be at that age where we can still travel and do things together.
Yes. Yeah. And you guys you're young and then lively and I don't know. Not that I wouldn't have been in the proper headspace to have a kid young, but to be honest, like I envy that in your life or my friend Karina's life. Like I'm like, how cool to have seen your children grow up, to be able to experience all the things with them while you're still young and healthy. And then to be able to get that time with your hubby while you're still young and fresh and life is good.
Frisky.
Yeah. And be able to do whatever or absolutely nothing. It just, whatever you guys decide. I'm like, that is so exciting.
So wait, hold on, because that proposes another question in my mind for our listeners and our viewers, Brandie. Okay. What advice would you give? Because, I always like to tie things up in a bow and give some sort of informational, like, here you go. Because you have been with Louis since you were 20 and you've been through 3 kids, a move, and all these things. Like, how do you keep it together? How do you keep it, especially if you got 3 boys running around the house, like trying to have sexy time or whatever. Like, how do you keep things still romantic or from, like, just keeping it together?
I don't know. I just think our biggest thing is, I've always told him to just communicate with me and be honest with me. So when you're feeling some kind of way, whether it's a bad way or a sexy way, like you need to let me know, like, you know what I mean? So there's times when the boys were younger, we would have to be like, okay, let's this night put the kids to bed early. That's what we do when they were younger. Now that they're older, it's so much easier. Because we could just, go in and shut the door and turn the music up and we're good.
But see, then I'd be even more self-conscious because they're old enough to where they could just come barging in the room and be like, Mom! At least when they're little, like, you could lock the door and they're like, okay, I guess I'll go back to my room now. Now it's like, can I have the keys to the car? Hey!
Thankfully, they've never done that, thankfully. But
so funny. Yeah, they're asleep, girl.
When you're a teenager, maybe you stay up late. I would just be so insecure. I don't know. You get the outhouse. Like the kid would have to be in the guest house in a separate building or spending the night at somebody's house. And then we can
That's why most of the time the master bedroom in the house is on the opposite side of the house.
Oh, true. That's true.
Smart. Very smart.
I love that. Yeah, I think that. And so is there something that you're looking forward to doing, like in your retirement, or I guess once the kids leave?
Actually, we want to travel. My husband wants to sell everything and get an RV and just live on the road. That's been his dream forever.
Oh, that is so cool.
If I would allow him to live in the middle of nowhere, like right now, and grow food and hunt food and just live like that, he would, but we're not doing that.
I will draw the line. Yeah. Colorado.
Yes.
That's amazing. I've always wanted to get an RV and do that and just like travel around the world. And good friends of mine have done that. They're young, but they did editing jobs, right? So they could edit from anywhere, and they got an RV. Now they sold it and they have a house in like Santa Clarita area. But yeah, I'm like, that is so cool. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like all I got to see and experience and just simplify everything, which is just, I admire that.
My goal is that we can still be young enough to travel and then be back, be able to come back home by the time my kids have grandkids. That's my goal.
Nice.
No, by the time you have grandkids.
Right.
Yeah, by the time my kids give me grandkids is what I meant. By the time they give me grandkids.
Yeah. Okay. You never know. I mean,
these days.
They could have a kid. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
no, I
funny.
hope
No,
they wait forever. No, just joking.
that's so funny. I love it. What do you say?
Well, no, I think we've run out of time. Like, it flew by
Yes.
so quickly.
I know.
But thank you. Thank you so much for just like supporting us like, from day one and just.
Of course.
Yeah, and thank you for being brave enough to share your story and like come on here. I know it's not for everybody, but again, it's super inspiring. I mean, I don't know you, but just to even know a little bit about your story now and like the things that you're doing for your family and for yourself, just as a woman is like, go ahead, do the damn thing. Like that's really cool, and for you to just do this and chat with us and not be nervous. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm excited. Thank you for having me. Like, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes.
I would do anything in the world to support Alicone. I really would. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy that weather. Stay warm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bundle up.
Yes. Thankfully, it's not in the negatives anymore. So we're good.
Aw. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you again, Brandie.
Yeah. So thank you. And then thank you, listeners and viewers and all the things. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.